Leah, and today I want to talk about how the kids are not alright. Have you ever felt hesitant to share your struggles, worried about what others might think? Did you know that around 50% of individuals with a mental health condition aren't receiving the treatment they need? The staggering statistic highlights a critical issue: the pervasive fear of judgment keeping so many from seeking essential help. The pressure to appear normal can be overwhelming, and the fear of being labeled as weird or different can be daunting. Concerns about job security and livelihood only add to this fear, especially when mental health challenges are severe. The stigma surrounding mental health and mental illness is particularly harsh on teenagers, who often struggle in silence, worried about what others might think. This stigma builds an invisible barrier, keeping teenagers from accessing support that they need. But why does the stigma persist? What drives so many in seeking essential help? To answer these questions, we must first understand what mental health stigma is and why it persists. Mental health stigma is rooted in fear, misunderstanding, and negative social beliefs. It leads to labeling people based on behavior society finds shameful or undesirable. This stigma exists in three forms: public stigma, self-stigma, and structural stigma. Public stigma is a set of harmful beliefs society holds about mental illness, often fueled by misconceptions and stereotypes. These beliefs cause people to fear, avoid, discriminate, and judge individuals with these mental health struggles, and discouraging individuals from receiving the help that they need. A survey done by the National Alliance on Mental Illness found that 64% of individuals with mental health conditions believe that the public views them with fear and distrust, which often leads them to hesitate in seeking help. Not only is the stigma harmful towards these individuals, but it also prevents open discussions about mental health, leaving many feeling isolated and alone. Self-stigma occurs when individuals internalize these negative social views about their own mental illnesses. It's a personal struggle that can lead to embarrassment, low self-esteem, and can worsen mental health. Imagine struggling with a mental health condition while also feeling like you're to blame. That's the impact of self-stigma. A study done by Psychiatric Service reveals that 40% of people that struggle with a mental health issue also struggle with self-stigma. This decreases their likelihood of seeking help and further worsens their condition. Then there's structural stigma. This is built into our laws, policies, and institutions. It leads to discrimination against individuals with mental health conditions in places like offices and schools. In fact, individuals with mental illnesses are 3 times more likely to be discriminated against in a workplace or a school, which really does impact job security and career growth. But where does the stigma come from? It is often passed down through history. Centuries ago, mental illness was seen as a sign of possession, a demonic, supernatural event. And while these beliefs may sound outdated, modern society continues to express mental health stigma, particularly through the media. Movies and TV shows often portrays characters with mental health conditions in a negative light, reinforcing the stereotype that these individuals are harmful, dangerous people. Around 70% of all media portrayals of individuals with mental health conditions are negative. Cultural beliefs also play a big role. Some cultures, reaching out for help and asking for help is a sign of weakness or failure. This prevents so many individuals from seeking out for help for fear of disappointing family members and not receiving help. This stigma negatively impacts everybody, but it is especially dangerous for one of the most vulnerable groups, teenagers. Adolescence is already a challenging time filled with rapid physical, emotional, and social changes. Add mental stigma, and it becomes a recipe for isolation, shame, and silence. A report by the United Hospital Fund shows that teen mental health issues have hit a new peak in the US. The pressures of social media and some lingering effects of the COVID-19 pandemic have only worsened these conditions. But despite this growing crisis, stigma still remains a huge barrier. This keeps teens from receiving help that they desperately need. So how does stigma impact teenagers? First, it causes social isolation. Many teens hide to avoid their struggles, but isolating themselves during such a critical period of social development can only make things worse. withdrawing from friends and family only deepens feelings of loneliness and can lead to more severe mental health challenges like anxiety and depression. Risky behaviors like self-harm, eating disorders, substance abuse are all coping mechanisms for teenagers to grapple with mental health issues and the stigma surrounding them. These behaviors are a temporary escape, and that's just what they are, temporarily, because in the long run, they just worsen the problem. Lastly, untreated mental issues can harm teenagers' academic performance. School is already a pressure cooker environment, and struggling with both mental health and academic challenges can lead to burnout. According to the American Psychological Association, 45% of teens report that school pressures add to their stress levels. But stigma isn't the only barrier. Many teens don't feel comfortable talking to adults about their mental health. They fear judgment or being taken less seriously. In preparing for this talk, I surveyed my peers and found that 61% of them did not reach out for help in their times of need. Why? They feared being ignored or dismissed. Additionally, 52.4% of them believed that their peers would judge them if they opened up about their mental health challenges. The survey results highlight a clear and present issue. Stigma is preventing teenagers from seeking help. Now, the focus must shift to solutions. How do we change this narrative and create a space where every teen feels supported in addressing their mental health? Many schools across the U.S. are taking steps to address this ongoing mental health crisis. In my own school district, Montgomery County Public Schools, notable efforts have been made, such as providing guidance counselors at every school, implementing yearly signs of suicide lessons. However, despite these intentions, many students feel disconnected from these resources. As a student within MCPS, I've observed firsthand that these efforts quite aren't hitting the mark for myself and for many of my peers. In my survey, most of the teenagers expressed distrust in school counselors, citing concerns that counselors might overreact or disclose personal information to parents. This lack of trust is a huge issue. It is just not okay. Teens need to feel like they have a safe, judgment-free space to talk. Building this trust comes from active listening from counselors, really hearing what these teenagers have to say and validating their feelings. Confidentiality is key. When teens know that what they're saying stays private, they're more likely to open up. Now let's talk about the signs of suicide lessons. Every year, MCPS uses the same video, an outdated conversation between two actors. One of them plays a concerned friend, and the other plays a depressed teen. And while well-intended, the video was outdated and dramatic. The wording is babyish, and nobody takes it seriously. Many kids tune out, and some students even leave the room. What could be an important discussion about mental health instead becomes a running joke, which only adds to the stigma that teenagers already face. In my survey, 66.7% of students said these wellness lessons did not inspire them to talk to adults. One student called them useless and redundant, and others pointed out that these lessons are a joke across MCPS, which furthers their reluctance to seek help. The reality is, these decisions about mental health and mental health resources are being made by adults in offices, people far removed from the actual experiences of high school students. And there is a disconnect here, and it is time to bridge that gap. Now let's focus on how MCPS could improve. How can MCPS bridge that gap? First, implementing mental health and wellness days could give teens a much-needed break from the constant pressure of high school environment. Teens are afraid to take mental health days for fear of falling behind. But if MCPS could build structured mental health days into their schedules, it would give students a chance to recharge without the worry of missing out. MCPS could also improve mental health literacy by focusing on lessons that talk about coping strategies, breaking down stigma, and raising awareness about mental health. These lessons would not have to be anything like the signs of suicide lessons. They should inspire teens to reach out for help if they need it. The current efforts may not be perfect, but there is real potential for change. By listening to teenagers and involving them in the conversation, we can create an environment where mental health is taken seriously without the stigma. Thank you.